And as we now move ahead to our next topic, AI in the global and Indian regulatory landscape. This is going to be a 30-minute session on the other side, wherein we are welcoming our speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, starting with our first speaker, let's give it up for Jayesh Thakkar, who's the Virtual Chief Information Officer and the Virtual Chief Technology Officer and VCIO or at Lubri Corte, based in Garden City, New York. He's somebody who's got a prior experience as the head of information technology at other firms, and additionally is active in various domains and solid IT leadership background and engagement in broader technology and media activities. Thank you so much, Mr. Thakkar, for joining us. We'd also like to now call upon Nachiket Deshpande, co-founder of Health Junction, a technology and a fintech leader with over 16 years of experience in digital transformation and innovation. Beside his well-known role at LTI Mindtree, where he resigned as the whole-time director and president, he's also the co-founder of Health Junction, a venture focused on advancing digital healthcare ecosystems. Thank you so much, Nachiket, for joining in. We'd now like to call upon stage Shreyas Jayasimha. Let's give Shreyas a big round of applause, member SCCA Court. An experienced advocate, arbitrator, and a trained mediator based in India, he co-founded the Arna Law, a boutique international and domestic dispute resolution practice, and also co-founded the Simha Law in Singapore. Brings in more than 23 years of experience. Do we have Shreyas with us? I believe not. We're going to be going ahead to our next speaker and panelist. We now like to call upon Atul Juvle, strategic legal and GRC consultant. He nearly has over 4 decades of cross-industry experience, having worked in banking, manufacturing, export, vertical transportation, life insurance, and agrochemical sectors. Currently, of course, he's also in the top 100 India General Counsel's list by Forbes India and Legal 500, with multiple recognitions from 2016 to 2025. Thank you so much for joining in. We'd also like to humbly invite on stage Dr. Ankit Ramesh Chandra Shah. Let's give him a warm round of applause. A renowned academician and expert in geoeconomics and geopolitics with more than a decade of experience. Known for his deep analysis and predictions on major geopolitical events and economic trends. We just request all our speakers to please take your seat. We do not want you to keep standing. We'd also like to take the opportunity of inviting our moderator, ladies and gentlemen, Chintan Udeshi, the co-founder and CEO of Trader Penetrate Private Limited, a leading expert in regulatory compliance with over a decade of experience advising BFSI clients and building innovative products. Well, he's the founder of Trade Penetrate, which helps Indian MSMEs integrate into the global markets by providing transparent, compliant, and auditable third-party supply chain products. With that, Chintan, a very warm welcome to you as well. We'd like to leave it in your able hands to curate it forward.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I can't hear anyone. Good afternoon. All right, thank you. Welcome to the panel on AI in global and Indian regulatory landscape. Around the world, absolutely. Around the world, governments are racing to balance innovation and regulation in the field of AI. The EU's AI Act, now we are talking from a global perspective, the EU's AI Act is already being phased in. US is taking more of a voluntary standards approach. India is shaping its own AI governance policy, focusing on responsible and ethical use of AI. So for startups, this mix actually means opportunity and complexity, right? From a product design perspective, from data practices perspective, from a go-to-market perspective, everything is being rethought, right? The entire spectrum and the entire value chain is being rethought. Today I'm joined by some incredible founders who are building AI solutions across various industries. In terms of our own theme, what we are going to cover in this panel, we'll touch upon 3 or 4 macro themes. One is regulation readiness, right, from an AI perspective. Second is data quality and governance. And the third piece is global interoperability and the opportunity which sort of lies behind, right? So what I'll do is I'm going to have a common question and I'll allow everyone to sort of, I will go around the table, we'll listen to their thoughts, and then we'll sort of move to another theme, right? So my first question is around regulation readiness. We are seeing a patchwork of AI regulations emerging from EU's binding rules to India's upcoming framework, and a lot of global guidelines around OECD, NIST, etc. So as a founder, how are you preparing for this regulatory shift? What's one concrete step you have taken or you plan to take to ensure your AI systems stay compliant and trustworthy as rules evolve? To you.
Good evening. Last 2 days, AI is in air. Someone has made it in water, someone has made it part of a nervous system. I will say the AI is in air actually. The air which is breathed in by chaprasi of a company till CEO of the company. So you are not left with the choice that you don't breathe. To remain live, you have to breathe. So you need to use AI because everybody talks on AI. Now this is the scenario on one side where you are not being given a choice to remain with AI. On the other end, since yesterday we are hearing that about 60 to 70% of the projects are failing in AI. So both are very contradictory thing. One, you are not able to survive without, other things you are failing into that. Again, if I compare this with my breathe in and breathe out practice, there are 1,000 problems when you don't breathe in and breathe out properly, and the world has come back to the India under the name of a yogic science, the regulated breathing. The name was given in yogic science, that pranayam, and that is nothing but a regulated breathing. So now AI, which is like a breathing, we have to think of a regulated AI. It's not a choice. So for living, if you need a breathing, for healthy living, you need a deep breathing or a pranayam. So for healthy AI, you need a regulated AI. Now when I talk of a regulation, regulation is a force. And when someone force you, it's always you will oppose it actually. It's not true. It depends the force is coming from which side. When the force is coming from within, it gives a birth to a new life. And when force is coming from outside, it is breaking the life.
So this is for the first time I'm hearing, at least all of you are hearing on NCube that, we are comparing AI with pranayam, right? This is the first time we are hearing this. Please give a big round of applause. I've never heard this before. I've been working in this field for such a long time, but this is the first time I'm hearing this comparison. Very unique. If you could give your point of view and then we can move ahead. Yeah.
That's the regulation is a different, and which I will tell that how it varies from a different company to company. But that's a must. We are making the people aware that the regulation is a must. Awareness, because I am talking of a SME. In SME, the self-awareness is to be very much implemented and inculated. So that is the first step, that it is the necessity component for an SME. That is what the first step I am doing for the firms.
Great. Moving on.
Thank you for the analogy. So I will continue the pranayam analogy.
Phenomenal.
So what we are using at Axis is grounded data frameworks. So again, it is about Anulom Vilom. When you take in the breath, hold it for some time, and give out something which is not needed. So we take up the data, we only look at the data which is useful for the case, use it, and there is always a response being generated which is grounded on that data with a reference. So that's point number one. So main part of it, whenever we are looking at, is using generic models without grounding, the challenges are coming. Second part of it, different regulations for different regions. Now,
Great.
in that aspect, what we believe is two parts. Couple of common things that remain in them. One is privacy. Second is actual traceability of the data which is being used. And third most important is geopolitically how you are localizing the data and the model. So how our way of looking at the solutions that we are building is incorporating all three of them. The solution could be run tight without even internet connectivity, with the data within the enterprise and being controlled in a manner of being auditable. So that's the way we look at. I believe this approach could help us to take things ahead globally to multiple geographies. Simple reason that all the fundamental parts where things are being, all the regulations are being built around are on common ethos. And if these ethos are being handled, it would work.
Right, and you're right about, so the three sutras are data residency, data privacy, data consent. I mean, no matter which jurisdiction we go to, all three are required.
Completely
right?
agree.
So moving on, sir, your point of view.
So first of all, thank you Incube for this opportunity. And I would take the fourth part, which is also common, which is the fines. Okay, one has to be because I am a user. I am not particularly developing the AI, but I am user of AI. And even though in India the regulations are not there, but AI EU regulations put the 7% of the global turnover fine. So when the data, he has taken the three particularly parts. Fourth part I am taking is that huge fines under AI misuse. And he has covered actually the privacy consent and the particular data in storage also. In AI, we don't have choice, frankly. Why? Because regulators have started using the AI. Well, I am talking about the regulations. And SEBI uses regularly, other government organizations are also started using the AI. So as a my industry, from industry side, I will say that I have to be AI conversant. The reason is that before regulator finds out, I should find out what is the gap. And that is possible with AI users. So first round I will take this.
Great. Over to you, sir.
So, since my domain is more into geopolitics and geoeconomics, one of the primary concern about AI is going to be that it's like a fast-running train, and there are 2-3 people running the engine, and those 2-3 people want to take complete control of the train, and the passengers are seated inside, and nobody knows what direction it is going. So, one is the sovereignty concern. Are we going to hand over the sovereignty of our citizens to outside countries or big tech companies which are trying to dominate the entire world, one world kind of a concept of governance taking over our political rights? Are we going to do that, or we are going to move towards a Swadeshi technology movement? If we are going to move towards a Swadeshi technology movement, there has to be state-led regulations. And these regulations have to be insulated from the geopolitical pressures which come from outside, right? Which all of these elements are going to try to sabotage your initiatives in AI if they are Swadeshi, right? So all our people who are trying to make those kind of innovations, they have to prepare themselves from being sabotaged as well, because the global powers would not want Bharat to move that fast. Second thing, what we also need to understand is AI has to be human-centric. State-led regulations can, to an extent, control some incidents from happening, but mostly it is visible that the state governments is never able to catch the speed of technological advancement. So always the incidents happen first and the governance catches up. So one is self-governance is what we need to focus on. So all the stakeholders who are working in this domain, they need to have a dharmic control over their minds while developing AI and see to it that it enhances human life rather than causing a social chaos with unemployment and stuff like that.
Perfect. Moving on to the last panelist who is online.
Thank you.
Cheers.
In addition to all the principles that we've talked about, I'm Shreyas, dialing in from Bangalore. I remember I was in South Africa when ChatGPT came out, and I was sitting with people from Google and people at Microsoft who were behind the collaboration with OpenAI. We decided to test the systems with a UN convention on the regulation of AI, just days after GPT was launched. We had a few versions in 4 minutes and in 5 minutes. What was particularly interesting was the principles that were being expounded, in addition to everything that we have heard so far. And I'm very glad human centricity came up just now. The other one that has not been mentioned so far is meeting the student at their level. It is ridiculous for us to harp on about transparency when we need to now demand comprehensibility. The teacher has a duty to be comprehensible to the least intelligent student in the class. There is no point being a teacher only for the PhD students, and with great respect to PhDs in AI, they also will not be able to fully comprehend the state of AI today. And therefore, transparency and fairness and accountability and the old world principles have to be giving way to the new world. We have to recognize, you talked about sovereignty, sir, even internally, we will have to recognize that there are new stakeholders, whether we like it or not. Whether they are Swadeshi or Videshi, there are now non-human, cognizant, intelligent beings in our midst. The future that we have to envisage is therefore a transhuman universe where, and there again, going back to our scriptures, we don't even accept one word. We say samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. We don't even say loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. We accept multiple universes. And therefore it is well within our imagination to conceive of a regulatory environment unlike any other in the world, be it EU or OECD or ASEAN. Many of them have come close, but we have the advantage to go deeper and further. Thank you.
Awesome.
Just a small point I would like to make.
Sure.
Just 2 days back, METI and NITI Aayog has released 7 sutras. And I believe they are doing really good job. I will just reiterate the sutras. First one is, trust is the foundation. Second is, people first. Third one is, innovation over restraint. Fourth is, fairness and equality. Fifth is, accountability. And sixth, being understandable by design. And seventh, and most important, safety, resilience and sustainability.
Right. And a lot of these, thank you for sort of sharing those sutras. A lot of these are in overlap with what the RBI came out in August, right? And thank you for saying that. You're right, they just came out before 2 days. Moving on to the next theme, which is data quality and governance. Much of AI risk today, which is in terms of bias, privacy, related issues, fairness, most of that begins with the data that models are trained on or sort of fine-tuned on, right? Regulations increasingly emphasize data quality, consent, explainability, etc. So my question here is, how are you approaching data governance in your company? What's one principle or process that helps you ensure your data and by extension your models are compliant, ethical and explainable?
Yeah, garbage in is a garbage out. It's been hearing for last 2 days actually. 80% of the data scientists are recruited in a banking because banking has that much of data. And it is not today, it is historically. So earlier there was no AI, but data cleaning work is most essential work for a banking. So if I say banking, surely even before AI is a tool and target both. AI is a tool of cleaning a data, and for AI also needs a clean data, otherwise it is not going to give you the good or correct. So that is a discipline, it is a self-hygiene. So we need to treat separately from AI, it is a self-hygiene to have a clean data, irrespective whether you have AI or you have something else. So that is what we normally follow or ask company, irrespective of AI, having a hygiene data is the necessity for a healthy enterprise.
Great.
So again, coming back to the part, there are presently when we talk, it is most of a generative AI based conversation. AI is not only generative AI. So when we look at application of AI, especially at enterprise scale, we need to be aware what is to be used, and that's where we focus. Large language models, which are used by all of us primarily, ChatGPT, Gemini and others, they have specific use. But enterprises don't need them always. Small language models, specific cases, fine-tuned models on small language models, large, medium language models is what is the need. So point number one, we are focusing to use what is needed, where it is needed. Second part, we have developed our own data governance layer in enterprise solutioning, where we developed something called as data pods. These pods have their own policy, rule-based access control, and auditability connected to the data at the back. So a layer in the enterprise data, including banking and finance domain, we are able to identify from where that answer has come in and whether it has been coming to the correct person or an application going further using the AI. So that's a way we are addressing the specific part that you spoke about.
Very unique approaches.
So in legal and regulatory domain, we have to cross-check the output. The reason is that we have got almost 4 or 5 cases of the lawyers giving the wrong case which is not there. Not only that, but one of the bad incident is that the 2 judgments were copied and pasted. So that was a bad. So now High Court has given, Delhi High Court judgment has come 2 days back only, that senior advocates will not be responsible to check the output. But that's not true. When you sign the particularly application or when you agree for that, you need to have cross-check. So you are right actually, whatever data or maybe output which is generated, there is the check so that we give a right output and use right output.
Two important concerns with respect to the way AI would function. One is what I call as an organ failure, and second is skills failure. So when I say organ failure, in human context, we know that most of us would remember 30 phone numbers before we had smartphone. Minimum 30 numbers we would remember, right? So one is that. Second is, it should not happen that once you get habituated to using AI tools, your other options are completely eliminated and thrown out of the window. So one fine day it might happen that you do not have those specific kind of doctors who actually know to do those kind of surgeries which now AI is doing since the last 5 years. That should not happen. So organ failure and skills failure, these are the 2 big risks with this domain.
Awesome. Moving on to Shreyas.
Thank you. Well, that's already happened in the case of going to the moon. You know, we've forgotten how to go to the moon and we're trying to relearn. So this is a constant creative destruction process. I want to just say one thing, because I'm involved in regulation of AI initiatives in different parts of the world. What is it that we are seeking to regulate is a dynamic, almost a quantum leap forward. I want to introduce that word straight away because there's an element of dynamism in the entity that we are seeking to regulate in the first place. Now, I would say there are 3 phases. From 2022 to 2026, roughly, we have seen agentic, or rather, we have seen merely enhanced applications. So we had apps earlier, And then we had some enhanced apps so far. We've all been dabbling with it. We're all going wow and gaga over it. But the next phase is we're looking, of course, is agentification. And that's what was talked about by one of my panelists right now. But what has not been also difficult for us to fully comprehend is autonomous agents. Now, we're looking at maybe a 1 year or 1.5 years away when the agents might be able to work 24/7 without supervision in different domains. Now, what does that mean? They can also perhaps delegate further to, again, non-humans, other agents. So you have an agent tree, and then to what extent is delegation permitted? Is it not permitted? All of these concepts will have to now start getting baked in. So there is a nature of dynamism, even the regulations. And third phase, which will come soon, is to have a natural language operating system where the machines, in fact, I believe the OpenAI is currently working on a machine which is wearable device, but the idea is all these are no screen devices. Look at the Loop, look at others. Now we are looking at going towards a phase where we are being relieved of our screens, but our machines are meant to understand us better than we are trying to understand those machines. So the regulation, and my simple point is, it has to accept that it is going to be dynamic, and there has to be a new forms of convening across boundaries, not only of capital, not only of governance, but also of people concerns.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So moving on to the last theme, and I would request all of you to be crisp. And this is a very interesting theme, and hence I don't want to sort of skip it. That is around global interoperability, right? So we all know that AI regulation isn't uniform. What's acceptable in one market may not be acceptable in another market. As Indian startups increasingly serve global clients, how do you think about interoperability? Building products that comply with both Indian as well as international standards, does this create a barrier or an advantage for you? And I would request you to be crisp.
What we do is surely an advantageous for the world, and what world does is sometimes we learn actually. So we have done historically this thing, like Master and Visa was replied by Rupee. The Pizza Hut has to add the veg pizza when they came to India. So when AI comes to India for a regulation, of course they need to be changed because this is Bharat.
I will use one Subhashit from Sanskrit. Nahi kaschits achara sarvahitam sarmaprahe. Whatever you act is not going to be, beneficial to all. Somebody will feel that it is against them.
It's against them.
So what approach we are taking is very sticking to the basics. Data sovereignty, accountability, traceability or privacy, and the models which could be isolated, case specific. Be clear on the basics, adapt to specific regulations when getting to the markets. Advantages are there because we can charge customers from taking one to the other one. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
There is a good opportunity because we have got cost advantage as well as the mind advantage. We rule actually. So that's a great opportunity for the startup. But one has to ensure that the product is for the use and not for the way around. Right. Way around is a illegal thing which one has to ask. I can give one short example. We created the cars. Cars have got AI system to check the particularly speed and everything, how it is run. But then it is used to track whether the person has gone anywhere. That's a misuse. So one has to see that the product is not misused.
Perfect.
Geopolitically, we are heading towards a multipolar world order. So all four big powers, Bharat, Russia, US and China, are going to clearly define their spheres of influence. So the pack of countries that you are going to lead are going to be very specific. None of the spheres of influence would be interfering with the other, at least once things settle down after the chaos. So a lot of interoperability relies on how far the four powers are going to cooperate with each other geopolitically and in terms of value proposition that match among the four powers.
Right.
Very quickly, a view from Bangalore is that there are no multipolar worlds. It is a G2. We are all very practical people, and we see if Mr. Trump says it is G2, okay, fine, we accept G2. What does it mean for us entrepreneurs? It means that we have to build two versions. Like China built two factories. one for the morning shift and one for the evening shift. Like that, we'll have AI and other systems that are now being built. Okay, Mr. Trump, you can have yours. Yes, Mr. China, you can have yours. Meanwhile, what my previous speaker is saying, hopefully will also be emerging slowly, but it is still India rising. Right now, I would say there are G2. We have to acknowledge it, and we have to build accordingly so we can succeed quickly, if necessary, fail fast, and learn also.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That's the end of this panel discussion. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your views.
Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, if I may invite Mr. Vignesh Reddy from Bullforce, Nisarg, founder and CEO of Digitatya, and Shangbhagwan Velu from NCS to please join us and help us in giving a token of appreciation. Meanwhile, thank you to all our panelists and of course to our speaker who joined with us virtually. We couldn't give you a thank you in person, but do accept our virtual gratitude on the same. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, well, on the other side of the AI Conclave 2025 at 5:15, we're going to be starting with AI ethics, balancing innovation and responsibility. So that's going to be starting sharp at 5:15, which gives us a 15 minutes of legwork in terms of having a great coffee and tea. We'd like to thank so far our audience members and to all our eminent speakers. May we request you to please step forward. Allow us an opportunity to have you all in the center. Of course, towards the end, we're just thanking and applauding one another. Thank you to all our speakers for joining us at AI Conclave 2025. We'll see you after the next 15 minutes. We're breaking in for a short tea and coffee break. As per schedule at 5, we'll resume back at 5:15. Thank you.